Prior to the release of Elseworld Tale Justice League Gods and Monsters, DC, in collaboration with Machinima, made a short web series that acted as a prequel of sorts to the events of the movie, Justice League Gods and Monsters Chronicles. The series was only 3 episodes long, at around 5 minutes per episode. There was a second season planned and promised that would run 10 episodes long, but for whatever reason, that next season was scrapped. So these 3 episodes in the movie are really our only exploration of this Elseworld.
Alrighty!
These animated shorts not only bring back the original voice actors to the roles they play in the film, but they also introduce this universe's version of other villains and heroes. Characters like Harley, Quinn, and Brainiac are explored here where they're not even mentioned in the actual movie. But these characters weren't the characters most audiences were used to. These were much more demented versions of these vigilantes and villains. Characters who felt valid in carrying the name that they carried, but would also often act outside of it. In the first episode, Twisted, this universe's Batman, who isn't really Batman, but actually Man-Bat. I mean, he is Batman because that's his name here and that's what he's called, but it's not Bruce Wayne underneath that mask. It's Kirk Langstrom. Batman follows his latest villainous victim to an abandoned warehouse, a warehouse which essentially has become our own personal house of horrors. Batman stumbles into Harley's lair, where he finds victims both present and past, finding parts of people stuffed in the freezer, and a few people stuffed in a box. It's actually really dark and surprisingly sick for Harley Quinn antics. This gives a much more sadistic and psychotic take on the character than we've ever seen before. From her eerie appearance to her horrific actions, she turns her victims into home decorations, and she seems very intent on doing so. This feels much more up the alley of the Harlequin of hate than it does Harley Quinn. What makes matters even more strange is that it's actually Tara Strong providing the vocals for Harley here. She's sort of become the official Harley Quinn voice, following the retirement and then later passing of the original Harley, Arlene Sorkin. So to see the definitive Harley act in a way that is decidedly not Harley-esque feels that much more off-putting. Emphasis on pudding. This might just be the darkest moment in the history of Harley. Eventually, Harley winds up injuring herself with a chainsaw and turning herself into Batman, whom she suspects is about to take her to jail. In actuality, he instead takes her life and drains her of her blood, like a vampire, for reasons we'll get to in the follow-up video.
Why are you dressed up like
a vampire?
Because he is
A vampire.
you moron.
In the second episode, Bomb, civilization is under attack by the being known as Brainiac. But this creature isn't Kryptonian, but rather a weapon invented by the government in an attempt to keep this world Superman in check. A Superman who is only half the Superman you know, right down to his DNA. Again, we'll get into that in the follow-up. The President of the United States, Amanda Waller, which checks out. It could happen. I mean, if this country is willing to elect Lex Luthor as president several times over, then why not Amanda Waller? The president and her right-hand man, Dr. Savania, discuss the Brainiac situation. Unfortunately, due to some sort of malfunction, Brainiac is about to destroy the entire East Coast. So now the government needs to rely on the very man this machine was meant to destroy. Superman makes his way to the affected area and meets with Brainiac, who in actuality is basically just a kid. A child who is desperate to stop the destruction they're creating, but incapable of controlling their power. Brainiac openly cries at the chaos it causes, as Superman tries to comfort and reason with the boy, relating to him and explaining that he needs to control his powers. But when the boy through tears admits that he can, both know what it is Superman has to do. Baby Brainiac accepts his fate, not wanting to hurt others and urging Superman to do it. Without hesitation, but chock full of regret, Superman ends the boy's life to end the suffering of so many others. And we can see that this wasn't a decision that he wanted to make, as this episode ends with the hero mourning his passing. I was fiercely underprepared for just how heartbreaking this would be. I mean, it's a 6-minute short that takes place before a movie. I wasn't expecting much. You know, I went into this thinking that it would add a little additional context to the movie itself, not create one of the most soul-crushing moments in DC history. This is really strong writing for something of this caliber. I feel like the bare minimum would have been acceptable here, but they're going all out. They're telling stories worth listening to. The final episode is called Big. It starts off by showing Steve Trevor being taken captive by Cobra Cult, as the terrorist organization is working on something big. That being Giganta, who is looking considerably different here. Wonder Woman comes to Steve's aid as the two make innuendo throughout their time working side by side, with Trevor making mention that she's more cooperative in the bedroom than on the battlefield, which causes the heroine to stand back and watch as Steve Trevor gets brutalized on the battlefield, in case that was unclear. Ultimately, Trevor realizes he's outmatched and begs for his girlfriend's help, leading to the two taking down the threat and then getting down with each other. Getting down? Is that something people said? Was that ever something that people said? I really need to watch what I say because sometimes the clever wordplay just ain't all that clever. Anyway, this was the short-lived Gods and Monsters Chronicles, and that's honestly a shame. In a short amount of time, these episodes were able to world build, establish alternate versions of major characters, provide fun fight scenes, good visuals, and heartbreaking moments. I would genuinely be up for them continuing this at some point in time. Although they probably won't, or maybe can't is the right word, as Machinima is no more. But this show showed incredible promise. Well worth a watch if you haven't already. Look it up and give it a chance. Not like it's going to take a whole lot of time out of your day. Nonetheless, if you like this video and would be interested in seeing me check out the movie that's attached to this series, let me know in the comment section below by leaving a comment saying,
You think God stays in heaven because he too lives in fear of what he's created?
I am vengeance. I am the night, and that was V Infuso. Just remember, if you're not tuning in, then you're missing out.
So, if you like the words that came out of his mouth hole, and you too would like to become a V-generate, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, nerds!
And if you're not joining the fun, you're in for one bad day. And you know what they say about having one bad day?
Catch him next time. Same bat time. Same bat channel.